And we are live. We're back for episode 2, and we're talking about big beef ribs. My name is Ray,
You got the hungry guy.
and we're back here on our second episode of Hey, Hungry for Food. That's what we're talking about. We'll start talking about food, and we'll just go on and on until you know we can't stand it anymore. We got to get off and eat something.
One thing I did notice, man. It's like we need some theme music.
So I'm gonna look for some music. The only thing is you got to be real careful when you start talking about putting music
Yeah.
on. The big thing is because we're broadcasting this up on YouTube and broadcasting live, but the problem is they can pull our video if we don't get all the music rights exactly
Oh,
right. So
it'll be no problem, man. I'm
right.
I can get back in the mic and think something. We can start off like I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry for food.
I thought you were gonna say you're gonna get your mariachi band and get them in the background and play a little play a little
Hey,
something for us.
hey, yeah, actually, you're right, buddy. You're right. I'm
So
about to write that down. It's like, hey, let's see who's available to play some theme music.
yeah. So look, it's been what, a week or two since we've been back on. This is our second episode. What's been going on with you on the side? What do you cook? You barbecue anything? You cook anything?
Been a little busy,
Yeah.
especially since back to school. I think everybody's gonna be doing that
Um,
soon.
right,
But
right.
I have cooked a piece of shoulder. I've
Yeah.
done that.
Nice.
So I actually smoked that shoulder because of the weather. I was prefer to do charcoal, but because of the weather, once again, I did it on the propane,
Ah,
right?
okay.
So I mean, propane is similar to an oven. So you have the two burners, and the other ones are off, and I let it sit there for 2 hours,
Wow.
right? So
Nice.
it came out perfect.
It hey,
Came out perfect.
hi- so what'd you do for seasoning? What'd you
So
do to spice it up?
man, to be honest, I'm pretty simple um, regarding to the seasoning. So right now, what I've been using a lot on everything, right? You're talking about burgers, steaks. Heck, I even used it for chicken.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have used Killings
Okay.
salt and pepper blend,
Okay.
which you all know Killings is the restaurant Killings, right? So basically, the main ingredients. Correct me if I'm saying it wrong, but I believe it's telly sherry. It's telly sherry, black pepper,
I don't know that one.
and kosher salt,
Okay. Okay.
right? So
Yeah.
it might have other things, but I think those are like the
That's the
main
big main
ingredients.
ingredient. Yeah.
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 So um, I've been using that for quite a while now, man. I have other guys telling me other seasoning that they have used before. But every time I try something new, I always going back to Killings,
So
right?
I
So
I kind of swing back and forth. Sometimes I just want salt and pepper, and I got the crushed pepper and some of that sea salt. Sometimes I want that, and then sometimes I'll add a couple of things. I'll use some other different type of spices just to see what I'll get out of it. But to me, it seems like I always go back as a base to that just salt and pepper.
yeah, and I don't know, and maybe it's me. I like the little touch of spicy of the pepper,
Yeah,
right? So even when I go out to restaurants, man, I go out to restaurants and I don't taste their seasoning, right? And it could
yeah.
be either on their steaks or it can be on the ribs, right? So I just don't taste it. If
Wow.
to me it feels like they just they just put it on the grill and cooked it. They
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
even put no seasoning at all, right?
So with me, man, I think you have to go to certain type of restaurants, special restaurants, because what I notice going out to eat a lot of times is they're really trying to cook for everybody.
Oh
And
yeah,
then you
oh
got a
yeah,
lot of people say, "Oh, it's too much salt," or they don't like spice. So what I notice is sometimes they just dumb down the food. So when I say dumb down the food, I mean they just really feels like they don't put anything on it, like you said, and you get it, and it's just there's no season, there's no kick to it. So a lot of times that turns me off to the restaurant. So if I ever go to some place and I notice that they kind of missed on the got alerts going on, missed
Uh-oh.
on the seasoning from food, man. That's a big strike against that restaurant for me. And I more than likely I either won't order that dish, or if I'm just really pissed off about it, I won't go back to that restaurant because the food is bland, you know?
Yeah, and that was, and that's a problem for me right now because if I'm cooking a lot here at the house, barbecuing, and then you go to the restaurant, you're like,
I should have just cooked something myself. That's what you think, right?
yeah, it's like, so there's certain places that I go to, and I don't order a steak or ribs, right?
On purpose, right?
On purpose, because like I already know,
Yeah.
I know I'm not gonna like it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the steak probably could be good, but I mean, everybody's different. At least for my taste, man, I like that, the amount of pepper on there,
Right.
right? So, but I mean, I've been using that, pepper for a long time already, and they just came out. They just came out with a barbecue one, the same Killings barbecue sauce blend, right? So I,
Huh.
I started using that one, and it's good. Like
Really?
it's good, but of course not on
Can you
steak.
tell the difference? Can you tell the difference between the two?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's more barbecue, right? So
Okay.
for chicken, I've done the mix already for chicken, and
Okay.
and it's good. I love it.
Huh. I'll
Yeah.
take a
So
look at it.
yeah. So the last time when I made some chicken wings, I did half and half, right? I made the normal salt and pepper blend, and then the other one
Right.
I used the Killings barbecue.
And which
Right.
one did you like? Which one did you like more between the two?
I'm always the salt and pepper one, right? I'm always that, but um, I like it. I'm not saying that I'm going to replace it.
Yeah.
With if I'm making chicken, I'm not gonna replace it. But at least I have another option to where I can use what I can use, right? So for the family can, sometimes the family don't like the spicy of it, the pepper,
Right.
right?
Right.
So having the barbecue blend, it's way better for them, and if they eat it, I'm happy with it, right?
Nice. Nice. Yes, but so since last time we've been on, we did our podcast, man. I threw some burgers out there, right? Just a couple of burgers, and then it was also a sirloin steak that we had in the freezer. Thawed that out, and the same thing. So I use that heavy rock salt on the
Yeah,
on the steak itself, for the sirloin steak. For the hamburgers, I think I did use some of the seasons. Now it was a
gotcha.
general season that had the garlic and the basics inside of there with a little bit kick in there too. So the burgers came out really nice. And I kind of did one of those tricks where kind of almost what you were saying with the grill. So I put the coals on one side of the grill, right, and I lit them up, and then I just kind of smoked everything. Now I wasn't using the big pit this time. I was using that little small pit because again, it's just me and the family, and I wasn't like cooking for a Saturday. This was just one evening when I came home. Threw a couple of burgers on there. Threw some of those wood chips in there just to try to increase that
Get the
smoke flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And man, I just let that sirloin cook, on a slow heat. I need to get the temperature gauges like you, man.
It
Shout
helps.
out to my wife. That would be a great gift, great surprise gift. Doesn't have to be any kind of anniversary or anything like that. I do need those temperature gauges. Reason being is because, man, like you said, if you're going to cook something slow, right, you want to know what the internal temperature is. It'd be nice to know that. You could set it out there outside, go back in and do a little something else and know what's going on with your meat,
I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people who barbecue out there have their moments of their accidents.
Look,
It's like,
I turned around once and the whole doggone grill was on fire, and that was just for some really fatty hamburgers. So had I had that, I would have known because it would have alerted me, right? But yeah,
yeah.
man,
I
I
mean,
got to get some. I know you still cook with yours like that, huh?
Yeah, I wish I would have saved that video, of my smoker, man, catching on fire.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's like one of those moments, man. It was early morning. I'm trying to place what was that? It was a brisket, right? It was a
Brisket.
brisket. So, so it's one of those smokers that I have that the firebox is underneath, right? It's not the ones on the side.
Right.
Now I have the one that the smoker is on the side. The main box, the firebox is on the side, right?
Yeah.
So the smoke goes in between the box, so the smoker, and then goes up to the other one, right? The uh, the incident one that I have a while back was a while back, probably a couple years ago. Uh, what happened was that my fire was underneath, right? So all the fat from the brisket fell in, and next thing you
Right.
know, and lucky for me, I had the thermostat, right? I was like the thermometer, right? Thermostat. I'm checking my AC, I guess. The thermometer. And next thing you know, I was like, I'm relaxing, man. I'm already inside the house. I'm relaxing. Man, that bad boy goes up to like 500 degrees, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like, I was like, it's going off, like it's done. And like, wait a minute, like it's not even an hour yet, right? So like, wait a minute, man. I picked up the window, man. It's just like fire everywhere, man. I was like,
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah.
So that's a couple of incidents. If any of you guys here who's watching, want to put comments on their incidents barbecuing, hey, feel free.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna judge anybody. No one's no one's perfect. I Come on, I could have burned my house down.
Yeah, but look, I think that could happen to anybody, right? It can happen
Oh
to
yeah,
anybody.
oh
So I
yeah.
know this is not about directly related to food, but what do you do when you have a grease fire like that? How'd you attack that fire when you saw that?
I kicked it. I kicked it off my porch.
Oh, what are you talking about? What?
No, 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 I did not. So one thing that I did was and to be honest, I don't know if it's a good thing or not. And like I say, I mean, you guys can correct me, put a comment, but um, I closed the vents, right? I closed the vents,
Try
and
to
and
smother it?
yeah. So, but I have the handles on the side, which it's not. It doesn't get hot or anything like that. So the handle, I picked it up, and I had it on my porch, so I had to move it out of my porch.
Right,
If not, then the whole thing catching fire, right? So
right, right.
once far away from my house, I probably put it at least probably 15 feet away, right? So once that was done, I opened it up and took the brisket out, right? Lucky for me, I saved the brisket, right? I saved it.
Smart move, smart move.
Yeah, I saved it.
But I mean, you
But
did that with your bare hands, though. What did you have on gloves?
I I didn't have those fancy gloves, the ones that you provided me a while
Yeah.
back. So I actually used a fork in my other hand, just
Wow, wow,
took it
man.
out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I saved it.
Yeah.
I saved it. I mean, probably not one of the smartest thing to do,
Hey, you
but
gotta you gotta save the brisket, and you didn't burn the house down. So that sounds like a win to me, right?
I think if this would have happened and if my brisket was almost maybe halfway and it would have burned it, I would have gave it up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I would have given it up. Like, it's burned, right?
yeah.
So,
Too
but in
far
this case,
gone.
it was still early in the game.
Right.
So, like, you know what? Like, I gotta save this bad boy.
You got time to recover.
Yeah, and I did, right? So,
Yeah.
that it came out pretty good at the end, right?
Nice, nice.
But one thing that I haven't done lately is trying to smoke some some ribs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Nice.
something I want to do next. Hopefully in a few days.
Yeah. So hey, look, that's the topic of today's podcast. We're talking about ribs, beef ribs in particular. I know there's a whole bunch of different type of ribs out there that we could talk
Yep.
about, but for this one, we want to be a little bit specific, and we want to talk about, preparing and cooking beef ribs. So, um, what's your best, or what would you describe? I guess what's the way to go with some beef ribs?
Like the way I cook it.
Yeah, the way they cook it. In particular, I mean, what? Maybe some people might stick it in the oven, I guess. But for me, for the most part,
So
what barbecue, right?
for most part, yes. Smoking it, right? That would
Smoke.
be one way.
Right, right.
The Actually, there was two ways that we did it before. One was smoking the ribs. One of the steps was to, um, and yet again, I used the Killings black and pepper, right?
There you go. There you go.
The salt and pepper mix. And what I did to that one was I wrapped it with aluminum foil, right? Aluminum
Okay.
paper. So then I smoked it for a couple hours,
Hmm.
right? So by the time that I noticed that everything was good, I unwrapped it and just set it on top of the grill just to get some flavor, like get the
Yeah.
nice little, uh, uh, charcoal, color on there, right?
Right, right.
And that came out pretty good. It wasn't that bad at all. Man, I mean, if to me, like, what's a good, uh, what's good for the ribs. So when it's done, it's everything falls out of the bone.
Absolutely.
So
Right.
like that's how you know everything's good.
So, so this was right. The last time I cooked them, which was really, I can't remember really going specifically for ribs, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it was my maiden voyage in ribs. I don't ever really remember cooking ribs on the barbecue pit, so I was a little nervous, right? Like, okay, let me make sure I get this right and everything. So I started off with a nice set of ribs, but the main thing was is like again, we're always talking about trying to put that flavor in there. So I wasn't sure, and I think, man, for me, for the most part, it was just good old salt and pepper, right? Again, using some of that rock salt in there, a little bit of rock salt to try to get that thing deep and penetrating through the fat. And I think I had to cut off a little piece. I think I left that on there a little bit. I was gonna say I cut off a little piece of fat. I'm not sure if that was that or the last brisket that I cooked, but I think I trimmed a little bit of it because it had a cap on it or something, a little piece. And I
Okay.
thought about that. I said probably better to trim that off just to start off with. Mainly speaking, because I get nervous because I'm thinking all that fat's going to start to render. It's going to start a fire in there. But again, I kind of did the same way. I put the coals to one side and left the ribs on one side, the side where I had the vent. So making sure that all that smoke went around and on the out, they had to make sure to pass those ribs. So I think they came out okay, man. I'll show a picture right here. Let's get this in here. So those are the ribs that I started off with, and that's what I was saying. Like I think there's a large, kind of, I don't call it a cap, but some of that in there, that fat. Now I know a lot of people were probably going to flame me on this one, right, for cutting some of that fat off, because
But
everybody always says fat is the flavor, right?
but how many pieces of ribs did you get off of that?
So I think that gave me three, the three bone. That's three bone in a rib right there
Oh,
out of both
gotcha.
of those sets. Yeah. So let's see if we can find the next pick over here. See if I've got it listed here. So that's what it came. Hey, look, not pretty. I'll go ahead and agree, not pretty, but damn tasty, man. So, and again, I didn't care. I went slow and low with this one, right? So a fairly low heat, making sure they wasn't too hot, and just slow and low, right? Slow cook, low temperature, and I think I had them on there for about about 2.5 hours, man, and
That's
it
not
came out
bad.
nice. Yeah, it came out nice.
Not bad.
It wasn't, and I know you described ribs before about just kind of the bone falling off. The bone did come out, but it was tender, but it wasn't that fall apart tender. So I do that, and that's one of the reasons why we sit up and we talk about this type of stuff, right? Is I want to learn how to cook better, right? I want to learn how to be a better pit master, if you will.
Yeah,
And so
we're not professionals, so
no, but at the same time, I felt like I did an okay job to start off with, right? But I think I could always do better. So I know you were saying like you wrapped it in foil. I did wrap mine in foil for a long period of time, and then also I think after I took the foil off, it sat on the grill for a little bit, and then when I did pull it off of the grill, I think I rewrapped them and let them sit for about 30 minutes to kind of sweat out and just kind of finish cooking a little bit, if you will. So it took a while. I didn't think it was going to take that long, but about a 3 hour total time cook, 2.5 hours on the pit, maybe about 30 minutes just sitting up and settling in the foil paper. So I don't know. The family liked them. They thought it was very good. Thought it was a hit. I just feel like the
You
season.
could have done better.
Yeah, but you know what, man? For most of the time when I'm putting something on the grill, I always try to pick at it like this could have been better like this. You know what I mean? Could have did a little trick maybe that would have changed out. But again, not saying that was bad. It wasn't bad at all. I just like to play around and say, well, how can you make that better?
Yeah. I mean, it looks pretty good. I'm pretty sure it tasted pretty good too.
Oh, it was good. But man, I think I heard you tell me before, like, that fall apart, when it just falls apart or off the bone and et cetera, so that's exciting to me, man, when you can get that type of thing. I was going to put one of these up here, for example, like this. I mean, that's a pretty piece of meat, right?
Ooh.
And these right here, I mean, that's an awesome piece of meat.
Look at that.
Yeah. And it looks juicy, looks tender. Again, this is just a picture with some big old stubby hands around that bone.
Yeah, I don't want to. I think I went to. Man, where did I go to? Well, I had some ribs, man, but like, man, I was like, it's like no flavor at all.
Really?
I guess if I would have gone to a place to where they actually do sell barbecue,
Yeah.
then that would have been a different story, right?
Right.
But I
right.
went to I went to Cheddar's, right?
Okay.
So I mean, yeah,
I don't know. That's a coin toss, right? That's a coin toss. The other thing is, does Cheddar actually cook their ribs there, or are they just heating it up? Like, was it pre-cooked somewhere else?
That's a good question.
Right.
But it did miss. It was nothing but barbecue sauce on it, right? So, and like I said, maybe that was the way they sell it, and that's the way they cook it, right?
Right.
But I see, like, man, what could I have done it better? Like, man, I could have added the extra spice.
Yeah.
Add the little, add the blend again. Salt and pepper, man. That would have just killed it, man. That would have been like one of the best.
But you know what, man? I think people might, and it's not maybe just people, but I'll say on the restaurant side, I think they might lean a little too hard on the barbecue sauce to try to save what they're missing in the ribs.
Oh yeah, and yet again, I mean, like I said, I mean, they're not.
It's not a barbecue place.
It's not. Yeah, it's not a barbecue restaurant, right? So
that's not the specialty.
Like if I would have gone to Papa's or something, right? Then that would be a different story.
Right.
But yet again, I haven't been to Papa's for years.
Yeah.
So
hey, but look, we're in Texas, and so when you pull into a place, man, especially a barbecue place, man, we might have to do that, man. We have to go and take a little trip. We have to do a road trip, right? And look for some good barbecue. It's still summertime. Summer's almost about to be over. The kids about to go to school, man. We probably ought to put a trip on the calendar and try to just go get some nice barbecue, huh?
It might be a good time. Everybody going back to school, so it might be a perfect time to do that.
Normally about this time, I mean, we just get into the beginning of August. Normally, once we start off in August, man, I'm almost tired of barbecue. But this year, I'm not even tired of barbecue. I don't think I've had so much barbecue yet this summer to where I say, you know what, I'm tired of barbecue.
Hey, man, I don't think you can get tired of it.
That's right.
But
it's the barbecue season, though, man. Look, we're in Texas, and so, man, there's so many barbecue people that barbecue, right? And so, to me, at one point, it felt like I was either eating barbecue either every weekend or every other weekend, but not so much this year. I've been pulling out the grill. I've been grilling more, which is cool, but I still feel like man, I'm still hungry for barbecue. It's still barbecue season. Good thing about Texas is we only have 2 seasons, right? Hot and cold. So. Yeah. But once the kids go back to school, we don't have as much time to kind of mess with the grills as we normally do.
And normally the rain doesn't bother me, right?
So you got the patio, you got the overhead, right?
Man, I have gone, and so my smoker, it's not in my patio, right? So my smoker is actually a little outdoor kitchen, in blocks. So I can't move that into my patio. So
No, no, that's fixed.
so so I have gone out there with a beach umbrella, just stick it right next to it, and I'll smoke.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
But of course, I mean, there's been times that I'm not smoking anything, and I do want to barbecue something, so I'll go out there and use the good old propane, right?
Yeah.
It's not the same, but uh, you can throw some chips in there as well, some
Yeah.
wood chips, and try as much as possible to get the flavor. But besides that, I mean, it'll still it'll still get the job done, right?
Yeah. So I'll say this, man. If it's not a heavy rain, that's not going to stop me from barbecuing. You're right, man.
Yeah.
You're right.
Now, the heat for me doesn't even do it either. I'll be out there.
Well, now I'll say this. You know, again, we're in Texas. It's hot. So, I mean, you have to strategically locate or start when you're going to start your cook, right? You're going to be there at the heat of the day, man. That's a little tough, man. Standing over that heat,
Yeah.
in the heat already, man. It could be a little tough. But you're right. That's not a showstopper, man. Just because it's going to be hot, man, does not make it a showstopper for sure. For
No, it
sure.
does not. But now, now talking about ribs, man. I mean,
Mhm.
we want to do something on that.
Hey, so again. I'm saying in the sense that it would be nice to take a field trip. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Even Killings, right? You said Killings has got some good barbecue.
they do.
I heard of a new spot called Blood Brothers. Not new; they've been open for a little bit, but I heard they really been doing some real good barbecue. We might have to go out and check out some ribs, man, and put them
You
to the test.
Blood Brothers.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called, Blood Brothers Barbecue.
Hmm. Interesting. Near
Now,
is it nearby in Texas or out?
I know it's no that one's supposed to be somewhere in the Houston area. Let
Oh
me see if
wow.
I got it right.
Oh wow, some Bel Air.
Yeah, yeah, Bel Air, those guys. You know, so I'm not sure. I thought they got an award for it too. So they've been doing pretty good in the barbecue game, but they're not an old establishment, kind of like Killings. So your Killings, has been there for a long, long time. But Blood Brothers is fairly new. I think a couple of years, maybe about 2-3 years, and they've been you know raising some smoke up there, putting smoke out. So, hey, let me ask you
Nice.
this about ribs too, man. So, is it a foul to use barbecue sauce if you're cooking some ribs at home? Is it a foul?
Well, I, I'm probably gonna have to say it is.
Yeah,
um, to me, same thing as having a brisket. It's
man,
like
absolutely right.
I don't use a sauce.
Yeah. So I'm not sure, man. I've seen all these shows talking about barbecue, and for us in Texas, man, I think it's just way different. There's certain areas of the U.S. where, man, they're actually when they said the barbecue base and all that, I don't
Yeah, I
know,
mean,
man. It just doesn't sound right to me, man. You know what I mean? It sounds really weird to put
it,
barbecue sauce on it.
it's like to me, it's like yeah, like I said, I mean, this is my taste, but to me, it's like adding a barbecue sauce into a food is basically kind of like saying that the food is not that good,
That's what.
right?
So to me, if I make some ribs or if I make some barbecue, say a brisket or whatever, if somebody reaches from the barbecue sauce, man, you look at them like, what?
Yeah.
You didn't like it? What happened? What's wrong?
Now, I mean, if it's a decent place and you do want to taste the barbecue sauce,
Right.
then maybe a few pieces, to taste,
Right.
right?
I don't mind if they dip it in
Yeah,
there,
I
but
no, no,
To me, I don't. When I look at somebody just trying to use barbecue sauce on, let's say, ribs or even a brisket, I always think that, man, they're doing that to try to save it, right? Like, oh
Yeah,
man, it's okay, but I'm gonna put this barbecue sauce on it so I can eat it. I don't mind if you try to just dip a little piece in there and eat it, because let's say, well, let's see what their barbecue sauce tastes like. Because deep down, for me, I think you rather be known for your barbecue than your barbecue sauce.
correct.
You know.
So I know this other barbecue place, which I mean they normally just cater. It's
Yeah.
like the it's Roman Brothers, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
Roman Brothers Barbecue, and I've been ordering briskets from those guys as well. So they do a good job.
Yeah.
And the last time I ordered a plate of brisket, um, they came out and they're like, came out with a barbecue sauce, and I told them I even backed down a little bit. I was I don't really use the barbecue sauce.
Right.
No, 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 man. Like this is homemade, homemade,
Ah.
from Roman barbecues, right? Like
Okay. Okay.
try it out, and it was good.
Yeah.
Different from other barbecue sauce that I have tried before.
Yeah.
And it was good. It had a little pinch of spiciness on it.
Okay.
It was a good flavor, a good flavor. Will I cover the whole thing with it, the whole ribs with it? I probably not. That just
Yeah.
that's just not me, right? So,
Yeah.
but I did like it at where I can have control and dip in my own,
Right. Right.
and it was good. So next time I order from those guys, if they still provide that sauce, I'm more than happy to take it,
Ha-
right?
ha-
So
have you noticed people using mustard inside their barbecue sauce as a base or something like that?
I seen people doing it, yes. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if the Roman brothers do that or not, but
No, again, I think that was something I saw on one of these like barbecue shows or barbecue documentary, and I think it was in a total different place, right? So I think that was like Kansas or Kansas City barbecue, or North Carolina, one of those. They were raving about their barbecue sauce, right? But when you talk about mustard as your
yeah,
base, again,
yeah,
I
I
don't know, man.
know.
Us growing up in the South, man, things are a little different. And when you talk about mustard as your base in your barbecue sauce, I just think, mustard is strong, man. It has a real strong taste. So, you
I'm
know,
not I'm not a big fan of
yeah,
mustard. Right? I mean, when I order burgers, I mean, if it comes with it, so be it, right? But I, if I had the option to not have it, I would be even happier, right?
right. Hey,
I would
look,
be like, no mustard.
yeah, when I walk into Whataburgers and order a hamburger, I'm like, look, no mustard. I'll take some mayo instead. I think mustard is it's an
Yeah,
overpowering type of flavor.
it's a
So if
little
you got
strong.
something else, yeah, it's strong, man. If you got something else mixed in there, it's very difficult. It's easy to taste the mustard in there, but if you want to taste the flavor of the meat, et cetera, you might get drowned out by the mustard. So that's just real weird for me to think of a place having some good barbecue sauce, but with a mustard base. Nah. I vote no on that. Now watch. We'll probably get a whole bunch of comments from people from other locations talking about, man, I love mustard in my barbecue.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of people use it, but it's just not our taste. Not our
Yeah,
taste.
something different, man.
So,
Uh,
so let me tell you this, man. Like,
yeah.
so if you have another chance to make some ribs, how will you do it?
So I think I might change up. I'm gonna go probably and try to change up the seasoning. I'll start there.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of things, and I don't know. I'm real nervous when we talk about marinating something. There's some meats that people might try to marinate overnight, etc. I don't think I would go for that. I want to do something different, so I think I'll start with the seasoning. After I do the seasoning, the only other thing I probably would change would my charcoal, maybe some wood for even more of a smoke flavor in there.
Okay.
But man, I'd probably I want to make sure that, well, you don't want to change too much, right? If you
Yeah.
feel like you were close, if you start changing a whole bunch of stuff, you're just going to be way off. So I want to dial it in just a little bit, maybe watch the heat, try to control the heat a little bit more, make sure it's not cooking fast, maybe slower. And then on top of that, the seasoning. That's what I think I can kind of attack and see if I can make it tender the way you describe stuff, like just falling off the bone. How about you?
Yeah.
What do you change on a cook?
I guess the only, I think I like the whole technique of using foil paper, right? Because then you get the whole juice, right?
Right.
To when you're smoking it, and all the heat, you still get the juice, right? It still stays in the when the foil paper.
Right.
So I kind of want to try it out without the foil paper next time.
The whole cook?
The whole cook time, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I think I don't believe I've done it without it. I think all this time I think I saw one of my good friends cook it on foil paper, and I stuck with it. Right. So
Yeah.
never cooked ribs without it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, that's the only difference that I'll use. I mean, I still use the same type of wood. I use
Yeah.
either pecan.
Yeah.
I use a pecan wood, and then I'm always smoking it, right? So it's just a foil paper. Just cook it straight up. Just on the grill, just smoke it straight.
So
with no foil paper.
You prefer the pecan over like mesquite?
The only so the way I see it is whatever's easy access. So I'm not really picky, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've cooked with both pecan and mesquite.
Yeah.
The only problem with the pecan is that it burns faster, right? So, and of course, right now I have tons of pecan, right? So,
What's available?
Yeah, it's available for me right now. So I do have
Yeah.
mesquite. I do have mesquite though. I just I think the last time I used the mesquite was on the chicken when I smoked some chicken. But yeah, so I'm trying to use all the pecan, get that out of the way.
Well, see, I'm asking that because I'm trying to see, like, the same thing like I was saying. Don't change too much, right? But I was like, well, if it was mesquite instead of pecan, would that change some of the flavor? I don't even know. Do people match certain things like you said, mesquite with chicken, pecan with beef?
And I mean, anybody can correct me on this. I mean, but to me, when I've used both pecan and the mesquite, and I have not noticed any difference on the taste of the food.
Right. That's
right,
a good thing.
dude. I mean, to me, it's the same. It's just wood, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if I get some other type of chips and just wood chips and throw them in there, maybe
do a comparison.
Yeah, but I mean, so far, me using
wood
pecan, wood is wood.
Yeah.
The only difference is the way it burns. Right.
But that's something you got to think about too, right? Because pecan is going to burn faster. It's going to create higher temperatures.
So it will create high temperatures, but at a slower, faster time, right?
So that means you got to have more of it, huh?
You gotta have more of it. So the mesquite, if you have a decent sized mesquite, then it will stay there for a couple hours.
Okay.
So it will still
burn slower.
It'll burn slower, and it's perfect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I guess depending on what you're doing,
yeah.
I guess now that I'm talking about it, I guess I would, if that was the case, I guess I would use mesquite for brisket.
See, the only reason why I get into all this about, this wood versus that wood, because, one time I told you I was doing a long cook. I was cooking all these hamburgers on a grill, and it's about 300, let's say, to cook for the night. I started off and I could feel when the pit needed another, log to go on it, but But then I think I probably fell into some pecan because I noticed that it started burning a lot quicker.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. I was working from one big wood pile, so I just grabbed a couple of pieces and throw them in there, cooking fine. Seemed like it would last for like you said, maybe an hour or two, maybe 2 hours. But then as the night went on, you notice that you start to throw more wood. Like, wait a minute, I'm throwing way more wood in. It gets that temperature up high, but then it started to drop off, and I'd have to throw another piece in there. So it may have been that I was working with two different woods, and that's something important kind of when you're talking about at least long cooks, right? Or at least trying to gauge out how much wood you need.
Yeah, I think, I think, I guess if I mean, if you're cooking ribs, ribs is, you can probably get it done in maybe 2.5 or 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
The max. But if you're doing a brisket, 8 hours to, I don't know, 12 hours or probably more, then you might want to use mesquite, right?
Right.
So, it will burn longer.
I was cooking so many burgers. I know it's either 4 to 5 hours on cook. So that's why I'm sitting there like, damn, I can't believe this wood. Wait a minute, I got to throw another, because you feel it. You're sitting there, you're sweating over the grill, and you start to feel like, wait a minute, I'm not getting that same reaction of heat coming out of that thing, And I knew the pit. I cooked on this pit before. It wasn't my pit. It was my buddy's pit. Huge pit, man. Had enough because the order was so big, making 300 burgers, in one night. I said, I got to go borrow a big pit, right? So I'd used this pit before. I was real familiar with it, knew how it smoked, how she burned. But man, I tell you, once you start shoveling wood, I was like, man, I'm gonna have to buy this dude a whole bunch of wood to replace his wood, That's where I got worried. I was like, hey man, I apologize, man. I started burning some of your wood, maybe too much of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I have quite a bit, man. I to be honest, I probably have enough for the way I'm cooking right now. I probably have enough for the rest of this year, and then maybe enough for maybe, man, I don't know, maybe to March of next year.
Wow, you got a lot of wood stacked up over there, huh?
Yeah.
Or you ain't cooking enough, one of the two, huh?
I think I might not be cooking enough, but yeah. So the way I'm cooking right now, yeah, I'll probably have enough for sure, man. But definitely I want man, I might try my best on some ribs this weekend now, man.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, so what plans you got for the weekend then? You got any plans to go out to eat? You got plans to cook in?
We've been doing less going out. But most likely we'll be cooking in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be cooking in. For sure, man. Hey, man, I might try some ribs out.
Man, it's time. It's been a while, man. It's probably been 2 months since I made those ribs, man. I think it's probably time to throw some ribs on there. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go in the freezer and look and see. I'm stocked pretty good. I'm stocked pretty good with some meats to cook. But the ribs, man, once I saw them down there, I was like, yeah, me and the hungry guy got to talk ribs. Because I want to make sure, that I can make that improvement on those ribs. Again, I'm not calling my ribs trash. I think they're really, really good. But man, you always want to try to set the bar a little higher every time. Because if you tell me that was perfect, I think we can always get a little bit more something out of it, right?
Yeah.
For me, I think I can make them even more tender and just fall off the bone type of, one or two fell off the bone, but I wanted to just almost fall apart. Nice. You know what I mean? And I don't think I was there yet. Moisture was there, but just tender enough to fall apart.
And to be honest too, man, we might be talking about, grilling all the time, right? But making ribs is not always on the grill, right? So, it was a while back. The wife tried it out on the pressure cooker.
Really?
Yep. And guaranteed, man, on the pressure cooker, no matter what, the bones the meat will fall off the bone.
Yeah.
It's a pressure cooker. It's a pressure cooker, right?
Yeah.
So everything's all controlled in, right? So it's not like you're smoking it. There's there's smoke going out, temperatures, it's not
Right.
stable, right?
Right.
So
And it's under pressure, right? The pressure
exactly.
increases in there.
So I mean, we don't really, not everybody has to be cooking it on the grill, you know. So if
Hey,
you want to do it in the pressure cooker or even stick it in the oven, right? So
did you do you know if you changed anything up as far as seasoning wise, putting it inside the pressure cooker? Killings.
killings all the way, killings all the way.
Nice. Did you notice a difference from it being pressure cooker? You know, the taste, the final taste, final product, was it different?
So yes, so the to me the taste it is a little different. Um, I'm not gonna say little. I'm gonna say a big difference.
Really?
A,
Okay.
a big difference on the taste on when you're cooking, at least on the seasoning part, right? So using my same blend, the pepper and salt, um, cooking it on the grill, a lot of the blend gets stuck in it, right?
Mm,
So if you're doing the pressure cook, obviously you have to put a little bit of water in there, right?
right,
So
right,
to me, it feels like everything starts um, vaping down, just draining.
right.
So I believe, when I took the first bite of it, and yes, the meat fall off the bone, but when you taste it, it was still good, still good, but you don't have the spiciness of the pepper,
Huh.
right?
Okay.
So that's the only difference.
I was
Uh,
thinking maybe because the seasoning couldn't escape out of the pressure cooker, where when you're on the grill, you might lose some from. Well, no, it's wrapped. It's wrapped.
I think it's the moisture, the like everything just gets stuck in there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like all the juice, right? So you get vapor and all that stuff in the pressure cooker, so you tend to lose that flavor,
Yeah.
right?
Huh.
I mean, I guess it wasn't bad at all,
Right.
right? It
Right.
wasn't bad at all, but you did notice I did notice the difference between me cooking on the grill and then having it in the pressure cooker.
You throw any veggies inside the pressure cooker or anything like that? Well,
Veggies.
well, I mean like a jalapeno or maybe some onion, to kind of get in there too.
So I normally don't throw too much vegetables.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
Huh.
I think the wife is in charge of that, right? So it's like, no, we start eating some vegetables, right? So uh, um so sometimes, I mean, but for the ribs, I mean, there'll be no vegetables, right?
Okay.
It'll just be plain. It'll be like a normal barbecue plate,
Okay. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So it's just that, and of course, to me, if you have brisket or even ribs, the side dish, mac and cheese, right?
I like
So
that. I like that. Huh.
so so when I have my ribs, I have that mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese on the side. Man, now you
On the
make me want
side.
to have some mac and cheese. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Dang. That's a nice side. That sounds a compliment for a nice side of it. Huh.
Well, if anybody has some pictures, anybody who's watching live here, I mean, if you have any comments or even pictures of the ribs that they're cooked before, and of their little accidents, you know, while barbecuing, right?
Right.
And we're
Right.
not gonna judge anybody. We're not professionals, right?
Yeah.
We're just lucky enough that we didn't burn that house down. That's
That's
all.
right. That's right. I could have. I got close. So the big thing, I guess, this weekend, then I guess let's challenge everybody to make sure to get some ribs on. Beef ribs. Again, we're talking beef ribs.
Yeah.
Now that Jonathan pulled up there two ways, I was going to say grilling. Jonathan's also pulled up, excuse me, the hungry guy's also pulled up the actual fact of putting it inside the pressure cooker. So if you got
Yeah,
recipes on putting it inside the pressure cooker, I'm not saying that's cheating because it's going to fall off the bone on the pressure cooker, right?
it is. And the thing is, like, not everybody has access to a grill,
That's yeah. Or a
right?
pressure cooker. Some people don't have access to a pressure cooker.
Or a pressure cooker, but if you have it in the oven. I mean, feel free to post anything.
Right, right.
Provide us with any ribs of their liking.
Yeah.
And maybe tell us a little bit on the seasoning that you guys use, right?
And so here's another little tidbit, man. I know we're running a little low on time here, but another little tidbit, that cut, when you're cutting that main piece of rib right there, there's a small portion of that, man, that's connected to the prime rib. You know what I mean? So there's
Yeah.
some really, really good meat. That's high quality meat whenever we're talking about the ribs, man. That's just nice. You know what I mean? So I really, I mean, I really like that rib cut, and I really like just the long rib itself. Man, I'm interested. I'm really gonna do it today. I just don't have the killing, so I might go out and look for some maybe some killing flavors. Maybe I'll like I said, man, the way that I could probably make this better is change up the flavor a little bit, using some of the seasoning, and even going with maybe a slower heat, longer heat with a longer cook with the rib.
I might have some little extra supplies of killings. I can provide.
Oh,
I can provide. No worries, man. No
now
worries.
you do remember one time we did look up the recipe for the killings, which
Yeah,
I
we sure did.
never knew that people put that type of stuff out on the internet. That's pretty interesting. So
I didn't know they use real pepper.
because what I'd like to do, man, I think it would be real cool. And this is a plan, probably further into the future, is to start, trying to get some actual
Make your own.
ingredients and
Yeah.
make your own. Man, that's really exciting to me, man. You're playing like you're a scientist, a mad
I
scientist
think
messing with flavors.
I think once you start getting to that point, man, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what you're doing when you get in the grill.
Well,
It's like
that's not saying that for me, man. I figure I'll still be just as dangerous on the grill. It's like, man, you burn those ribs good, but they tasted perfect.
yeah, what is all this chocolate burn and all this bone? It's like, what's going on here? Like, yeah, I burned it.
So I will say this though, I do like a little bit of char. You know what I mean? A little bit of that outside char, a little bit of that, man. It's always tastes kind of good to me, man.
You are you trying to compare that to burn or
Not burn, not burn. See, that's why I don't even like bringing that up, man. You're like, oh, you burned it, you still eating it? No, not that.
like it's burned?
Just to get that outside crust on it, get a little bit of crust, that little burn portion of it too. But yeah, it's got to be specific. You don't want to burn the meat at all.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before, it's like, the way I cooked it, when you wrap it with foil paper, I still like to, like, towards the end, I like removing the foil paper and just setting at the grill
Right.
and just let the fire go at it, man.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Just let it sit there for a minute or two on each side and let it go, right?
Man. So I tell you what, everyone, look, so right now our schedule is sitting at bi-weekly. So you won't see us next week. You'll see us the week after that. What we'll do is we'll put out another podcast. Please, like what the Hungry Guy was saying, you got any questions or any basic or interesting stories that you got about your cooks or your burns, make sure to put those down in the comments.
We won't judge.
We won't judge. Not much. But we'd like to thank you guys for listening, coming in and watching on our new podcast. You got any new ideas of foods or something that you want us to talk about? Put that in the comments too as well. And we're always interested in learning some new cooks, always interested in playing with new foods and trying to find out what's the best preparation for ones that we already know, but maybe a different touch.
And feel free to tag us. We still we have our Instagram page at Hungry for Food Texas. Will be Hungry number 4
There you
Food
go.
Texas in Instagram.
Yeah.
So follow us, and if you want to tag us on some of your pictures, feel free.
Well, looks like we're coming to the end of another show, Mr. Hungry Guy. What do you think?
Yes, sir. All said and done. Thank you for watching, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate it as always for you guys watching. And we'll be back not next week, but the week after that with more to talk about on Hungry for Food.
Thank you, guys. The next time.
See ya.